Cool. All right, so let's see who we got. Got guys from Telford, Shropshire, Central London, Edinburgh, Bristol. Got Scott from Bournemouth. Got Leicester, Plymouth, my old home from the time in Marines. Let's have a look. What else have we got? As you can hear you, my name is Julian, 50-year-old teacher from Dunstable. Great to have you. We've got Russell from Cumbria, another guy from Edinburgh, Paul, Chesterfield, did a lot of training in Paul, Stephen the Coon, love up there, Cumbria again, Southampton, the mighty Red Car, Thatcham, feeling overwhelmed. Don't feel it, we haven't even started. You can't feel overwhelmed yet. All right, so guys, let's get into this. John from Hull, Leicester, great to see you all, guys. Okay, so your engagement is just as important as the training that we're going to do here tonight. Welcome. It's really great to have you guys here. Tonight, we're going to do some training on how to manage your time, your energy, and your focus to feel less stressed, okay? I'm just going to go through what we are going to cover right here with you guys. It doesn't matter if you can't clearly see the board, hopefully you can. And it's really, really important for me just to clarify what each section is about so that we can take you through this journey, so that we can help you understand why you're probably feeling like you're feeling, and then hopefully create or give you the tools to go away and smash that out. I see what you mean, John, my bad. Firstly, if you don't know who I am, just a real quick introduction. So my name is James Borman. I'm a former Royal Marine Commando. I left in 2011. And as soon as I left, I crashed and burned. Basically, the transition of life and the way of life completely and utterly consumed me, right? So I went from having a life of purpose, respect, impact, status, camaraderie, brotherhood, to being lost in life, completely and utterly crumbled. I had no purpose. I had no focus. I was all over the place. I didn't know where my place was in the world. And a lot of people can turn around and say, well, you are a husband and you're a dad, but we all know that deep down here, we need something a lot more, right? Deep down inside of here and in here, we need to make sure that we are the priority. We need to make sure that us as men, we're leading ourselves, and we're making sure that we're leading ourselves to lead everyone else around us. And I failed to do that. And I took to drink, I stopped training, I got divorced. I got to the point where I got on the brink of suicide, and I sat on the edge of my bed and I had all of these tablets and the whiskey. And I kind of got to the point where I just needed the pain and suffering of life to just stop. And I didn't know how to save myself at the time. But I managed to get out of that. And I managed to look at a picture of my two young children back then. This was like 2012. And I managed to get out of the house, and I managed for 3 hours to run or walk or just get out and clear my head. And it was really, really great moment in my life in terms of, man, what was I doing? What was I thinking? I come back and I had all of these pills that were on the table, and this whiskey and this atmosphere in the house. And that was a real changing point for me. And there was still a few more years of suffering, but I never wanted to go back to that place. That was the peak of my lowest point, right? That was in the dungeons of life that I had experienced. And I think we've all got a story to tell. We've all got a book to tell. And I went on to reconstruct and rebuild my life. And I did that by building my first business. I did that by building a couple of other businesses. And I've kind of come to the point where I'm doing what I love, which is helping men lead themselves to lead those around them. And there's a number of reasons I wanted to do this, and there's a number of reasons I'm particularly attracted to working with men. Number one is my dad died when I was 6, and what I hate the thought of is a young child or any child to go through life without their dad around, whether that's through suicide, whether that's through a breakdown, whether through divorce, whether through alcohol, whatever it might be, pressures of work. My dad died of a heart attack through the pressures of work. and left me, and I got left behind, and I am a casualty and the sacrifice of that. And back then, when he died in 84, there wasn't really any of this. There wasn't really any of this training. Masculinity was kind of all under one umbrella, right? And development and opening up and understanding yourself as a man was very different back then than it is today. So that's one of the reasons that I'm emotionally connected to working with men. The other is I've kind of gone through that pain and that suffering. I almost had to put my first 2 kids through it as well by going through a divorce and not showing up as a husband, and the consequences of me not leading myself leading to that. So there are multiple emotional touch points of why I enjoy working with men and want to help men and change the difference. And John's mentioned now I've written 2 books. One is called A State of Mind, and the other one is called Remember the Mission. And these 2 books, both are doing really great. They're both sold over 20,000 copies, helped a lot of men make sense of what's going on in their lives. So the books are my message. They are the basic standards that I feel like we should be showing at. I feel like for a lot of men, they lack standards, they lack a growth mentality, they lack optimism, they lack direction, they lack identity, and good old-fashioned resilience to hardship and dealing with hardship better. And that's what we're doing. And we're doing that through a number of ways, through our programs, through our memberships, etc. And we're working with men continuously to build resilience inside of our head here, in changing the narrative that's going on in here, changing the story about what we tell ourselves, and kind of getting over that bullshit excuse mentality. Okay, woe is me, I'm the victim. We're never going to grow like that. So we kind of got to get out of our own way, got to get out of that story. And we've got to produce a new story, and we've got to look at a new way of living, and we've got to look at new ways of doing things. After school, not many men really educate themselves in how to plan, build structure, control their emotions, connect with their wife or their kids better, manage a stressful job or a stressful business, but still manage themselves, prioritize themselves. A lot of these words are unheard of. And a lot of people don't really recognize how to do that. It's just kind of, I hear all of these words and they sound all really great, but I've got no idea what I'm doing here. I've got no idea how to change this. I've got no idea which direction to go. Does that resonate for a lot of you guys? If you're listening to it going, man, that's me, let me know in the comments. Just a yes would be great. It's just in case of making sure that we are on the same page, right? So we run a number of free trainings, 5-day challenges, 7-day courses, workshops like this. I genuinely enjoy doing them and try to change the way that we approach these every single time so that we can get into this head, right? In terms of how do I manage my time, my energy, and my focus. Now, I could talk to you in a whole week seminar. You know what I would love to do is for us to go away somewhere for 7 days, and we do a 7-day retreat and do a complete deep dive and detox of who you are and how you rebuild yourself. But we don't have time for that. And what I want to teach you tonight is, without overwhelming you, is how you go about protecting the most important asset of your life, your time and your energy, okay? So that you can feel less stress and feel more connected. So I'm going to go through these headlines. The things we're going to go through is, what is the problem right now? What are your needs as a man right now? How will this work? The considerations to go through, the actual system, and then the benefits of going through this, okay? So let's get started. Let's get stuck in. What I would say is that questions, if you have any, keep them saved up to the end, write them down so you don't forget them, and we'll do a quick Q&A session at the end. Make sure they're short and sharp and brief. Make notes if you like as well. Record. I'm going to record this. This will no doubt go up as a podcast or on YouTube video a little bit later on as well. All right, so let's get into the things. This is more for my notes. So I'm going to go through what some of the biggest problems are that I have come across personally, but also working with the guys that I've worked with. Now, we have been running the Man Coach in and around since 2018. And since then, we've helped over 10,000 lads come through our 5-day challenge process, all of our free programs. I've been in contact with many of those guys. We've done many workshops. So what I get is a really good understanding and a really good picture of what's happening in a guy's life. There is not many things that I haven't come across what guys are struggling with, right? So for me, I just took those key ones that keep coming up, all right? So one of the biggest problems, first of all, is management of yourself, okay? Not managing yourself properly. But again, this comes down to a self-education thing. A chaotic lifestyle. So more than likely, the majority of men that walk through our door with an issue, if they are running at 100 miles an hour, 24/7, 365. And it is chaotic. You might be a dad, you might be a husband, you might run your own business, you might have demands and pressures, you might put pressures on yourself, and everything is chaotic. Okay, everything is chaotic. If I got a piece of paper and a pen and a marker and I just was like this, that would be your brain, okay? Most people that come through, there's no priority of where their time is going, no priority of what they're putting their energy in, no priorities in terms of where their focus is, no priorities overall. So everything just kind of falls on the same length, okay? So everything just happens on the same flat line. There's no targets to reach. There's no targets to aim for. We just kind of go, right, okay, I've been told I've got to earn this amount of money in my business and that's it. Okay, I've just got to get the kids to school and that's it. But what are your targets? You as a man, yourself, when you look in the mirror, what targets have you set yourself to achieve personally? What are those things when you wake up and you want to get after it and you have this journey? What are you building discipline towards? It's all good having discipline. It's all good being enthusiastic. It's all good being engaged in life. But unless we have those targets, we've got nothing to shoot at. No tools to help you track, okay? So when it comes to your time and your energy and your focus, how are you tracking where that time and energy and focus is going, right? We don't. Many people don't. Many people don't use a journal. Many people don't use that diary like it's a non-negotiable routine. It's a non-negotiable tool that you use that keeps you accountable, okay? Lack of sleep, big one, really big one for men, lack of sleep. Because when the guys are going to bed at night, they are stressed, they are overwhelmed, they are overthinking, they are worried, they're frightened, they're ashamed. All of these different things are going on in a man's head. And then the next thing you know is you're on this and you're scrolling through. I'm scrolling through looking for a solution. Where's the solution? Before you know it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And then you turn your phone off and you wake up, it's 8 o'clock, it's Groundhog Day, we go again. Okay, no planning and no self-care. Now, out of all of these here, do you recognize yourself? Okay, so what I want you to do is maybe put your number one thing that you heard that stood out. So not managing yourself, feeling chaotic, no priorities, no targets, no tools to help you track, lack of sleep, no planning, no self-care. If you kind of feel like you're all of them, just write all of them. You are never going to move forwards unless you confront the beast that stops you. Okay, part of opening up is literally going, man, I have to be honest with myself. If I'm not showing up and not performing, I've got to be honest. I've got to look at the man in the mirror and go, dude, you're not showing up, right? You are not showing up. And you look at everyone there, look at the first people getting engaged, is all of them. Every single one, right? Because each one is a byproduct of the other. It's like a roller coaster over and over and over again, okay? Now, what we're going to do is look at some of your needs. Now, these are some of the needs that I find that men need most within their life. And this is based off many, many discussions with men, many discussions with friends, clients, other people. So I want to go through some of these. And as we go along, what I want you to do is just engage with me in terms of going, yep, that's something I definitely need. That's something I'm lacking. And the reason I want you to engage so much is, number one, just so I know that you're getting something out of it, but also number two, for your own realization, is that I want that. If you see something in a shop and you're walking past and you look at it and go, I want that, I need that. Okay, that's a must. I want you to shout out. Okay, so the first need is a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. A sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Now, I find that like a high percentage, 9 out of 10 men that come through that front door, when they first come and work with us, first come and do something with us, will turn around and go, I'm unfulfilled. And that's because they are living this chaotic Groundhog Day mentality where they are at the very bottom of their own priority list. Because we're at the bottom of that fucking priority list right down here, the whole weight of the world is just sinking on them. And they're like, oh man, I haven't got much to feel satisfied. You know, I get fulfillment from seeing my kids. They're doing well at school. I get fulfillment from like a little bit from seeing them develop and them create, maybe the wife, but nothing for me. And that's what I think men need to feel. They need to feel that sense of fulfillment. They need to feel that sense of satisfaction, like they've achieved something. So if I all said to you right now, let's reconvene in here in 1 hour. I want all of you to go out and smash a 5K. I want you to do it topless. Okay, I want you to get out there, feel the cold air, put yourself through some hardship, get yourself your trainers on and do it and get out there. And when you get back, do 20 press-ups. I know that when you got back, you would feel incredible. You'd feel like, man, I feel alive again. It's that fire in here that is missing, that fire in the belly, that drive, that hunger, that desire, that satisfaction to wake up and feel satisfied and feel fulfilled. Okay, second one is independence. Okay, independence. Okay, when we're thinking about managing our time and our energy and focus, we want to be in control of the choices, the decisions, and our own time. That independence of like, I'm in control of this time. So for many men, they don't feel like they're in control of their time because we're being almost forced into work early. Then we're almost being late. It's not like we're being physically forced, but there's the obligation, self-obligation maybe. Maybe there's self-pressure if you run your own business, if you run your own career. You want to feel like you have independent time where you have your own space and that own control. So we can do that. And the way that we teach that for guys is to have morning routines, is to have evening routines, is to have those workout sessions, is to have that independence. Like, I create this time for me. You know, often I have this discussion with people who say they never have time. And actually they have plenty of time. It's just how we manage it, right? And the need for you is to feel that independence in how you manage it. Does that make sense? So this next one I think is really important because we don't feel it enough. Okay, so when it comes to time, energy, and focus, a sense of mastery in your life, okay, that terms of feeling that sense of responsibility, like you've mastering something, like you're mastering your health, you're mastering your career, you're mastering your relationship. So when we talk about mastering, it means that we are controlling it. It means that we're learning. It means that we're growing. It means we've got it under control. And control is a really important word. It's the opposite to chaotic. So like one of the problems we've got in here is feeling chaotic. But what we want to do is feel in control. So we want to master something. If you talk about masters, they are like the gurus. They are like the Jedis, you know, the masters of jiu-jitsu, the masters of chess, whatever. They're considered at the very top. Now, if you can master your time and your energy and your focus, you would then feel that sense of self-satisfaction. You have to work hard to get there. There is no easy option. There's no like by roads or quick shortcuts where you can do this. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes resilience and resolve when things don't go your way. And that's how you become that master. You keep showing up and take time to do it, right? Does that make sense? Okay, reduce stress. Okay, so work-life balance and not feeling overwhelmed. That's a need that you want, right? Reduce stress. Now, one of the things that we find that when we build structure, routines, and systems into our lives is that it brings these 4 C's. Okay, 4 C's stand for consistency of action, control of your time, your energy, and your focus, clarity of where you're going and how you're going to get there. And then the last C is commitment. And when we have that SRS, which is structure, routines, and systems, it leads to those 4 C's. It leads to you managing your emotions. Okay, it leads to you managing your emotions. So when we are managing our time, our energy, and our focus, what we are really doing is managing those emotions to be calmer in situations, to handle situations stronger, to be a leader. So when everyone else is losing their shit around them, you're this calm, complacent individual that's just watching everything happen and making appropriate decisions. That's again leading into that mastering your sense, right? So not allowing external factors to stress you, not letting other people stress you, other situations. You're just handling everything, and you build up this fort inside of your brain, and nothing can get in. It's like this force field around you when you work on yourself. Okay, so there's that air of calmness, and that's one of the biggest feedbacks. I would say nearly 10 out of 10 guys at the end of one of our programs, or the end of one of our free programs, or one of our workshops, have turned around and gone, man, I feel slightly invincible. But that's where we've got to be careful, because then complacency comes in. Okay, so then in last one here is in terms of your needs, you want to feel a sense of purpose and meaning. Okay, so focus on what's important. Make a positive impact on you and others. Okay, so purpose and meaning, focus on what's important and making a positive impact on you and the others. So that's where our slogan comes in, where we talk about lead you to lead them. So when you lead yourself better with your time, your energy, and your focus, you create that sense of purpose and meaning, because you're putting specific time, specific energy and focus into the wife, the partner, the children, to you. And then suddenly everyone else is getting the best version of you. When you put you first, everyone gets the best version of you. And this is what's really hard for people to understand, to get their head around. Okay, so does that make sense to everybody? Just let me know, give me your feedback on your needs. Would everyone say that they can resonate on some of them, and actually some of those things are things that you want in your life, that you're just maybe searching for or trying to get into your life? And by the way, no one's going to click their finger, right, and just go, right, there you go, there's your fucking needs met. That takes work. That takes work. It takes real hard work. And through it, and through the process, you will build identity. You will fail forwards. There's no doubt you will fail, but it will create, yeah, it will create who you are and who you become. And everyone will turn around and go, man, who's this guy? You've changed your ways. You feel lighter. You seem calmer. You seem thinner. You seem more chilled. And then suddenly you take that into the rest of your life. Okay. Cool. All right. So how will this work? How this will work? Okay. So what it will end up doing when we go through this system, which is what we're going to go through, right? These are sort of the things that we will look at in terms of what it's going to do for you. So these are key words. These are key positive words that we try to focus on. These are, if you like, return of investment of your time and your energy. So these are the things that you're going to get back if you are managing your time, your energy and focus correctly, in the right way. So number one is a sense of control. Many men lose that ability to be in control. There is something really vulnerable about not being in control of our emotions, of where our time is going, of how much energy people are taking from us, how much time, energy is. But when we put in a position of power and mastery, we are suddenly being in control of what's happening. We decide what happens. Yes, you've got to do maybe the 9 to 5, or maybe your shift work and you do midnight to 8 in the morning. We got to do that. And then within that role, we control ourselves in that role. But outside of that, we have become the master of our own time and our energy. We become that self-leader, and we lead ourselves with elements of control. So when we go through this system, bang, we go from a place of chaos, no priorities, to a place of control. We then go to a place of balance. Now, balance is something that I don't find many men that come in day one don't have. And it's usually like 85% work, 15% everything else. Okay, so there is this mismanage or this imbalance between a professional life and a personal life. And what suffers is the personal life. Yet it's the most important thing. How mad is that? The most important thing to us, we're only spending 15% of our time and our energy on. We're only spending that 50% focusing on that. The 85% we're stressing, making sure that all the emails done, making sure everyone's got what they need, making sure you're hitting your targets, making sure your business is growing, whatever. It's mind fucking when you think about it. Yeah, when we get old and grey and we watch the kids and they've disappeared and we realize that we've missed that relationship, or when the wife realizes that she's just had enough of you prioritizing work over them. And by the way, those situations are real because we work with many men, and many guys are living in bedsits because they over prioritize their work and they didn't see the warning signs. They didn't listen to the warning signs that were being sent. And it just becomes tunnel vision. Okay. And that's when it becomes really serious, because it's life-changing, heartbreaking events that we're trying to prevent. Okay. We're trying to make you realize, snap the fuck out of that zone that you're in. Because the things that are most important should be getting the most of your time, energy, and focus. Got to work. No two ways about it. We've got to earn money. We've got to work. But there are pockets and times where we manage ourselves much better, right? Makes sense? Calmness, feeling calm. There's nothing more liberating than feeling calm in and amongst the storm. And we just recently had a Elite 90 graduation day where all of the guys on our course come down here and spent the day with me, and we did it. And when I asked what the top 3 things was, what they got from the program, every single one of those guys wrote calm, feeling calm. And we can get calm by breathing, by meditating, by having really strong SRSs. Just a reminder, structure, routine, and systems that build the armor in here. So when we build the armor in here, nothing gets through. Some things do, but 99.9% of things do not get through here. And if it doesn't get through in here, we don't react. And that's just part of our self-care management, right? That's part of our self-leadership and discipline. Non-negotiables. Like I've mentioned already, management of emotions. I think that's a really important one. I think most of you agree, right? You can get stressed really easy. You can get really short with the wife and the kids, right? In the car, probably kill someone. Someone cuts you off on the wrong day. We go to work and we feel quite low. Then we start thinking, and then we start building up overthinking, which brings a lot of sense of anxiety, like the thought of the unknown about what's happening. And our brains can fall into depression. And we start going into the dungeons of life. We don't want to go down that route. We want to be able to put perspective on things. We want to be able to understand things clearly. We want to be able to manage our overthinking. We never stop it. You'll never stop overthinking, but you can manage it. For all of you, there's like this little flick in here, right? You flick the switch. When you start thinking, you recognize I'm overthinking, boom, we flick. And the narrative has to start changing inside of your head. So you have to counter the negative thoughts that's going on in here. Like, you know, that guy thinks I'm a dick. I think that, you know, I'm going to get sacked. Oh my God, it's going to be the end of the world, World War III. Suddenly you got to like perspective, reality. Come on, bring it back. And that's what we're training our brains to do by working on ourselves. Managing our time and our energy and focus has a huge part to play in that. Awareness. Awareness is the front door for every single one of you here listening to me right now in terms of changing the way you live your life. Being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your emotions, being aware of how you're spending your time. I used to say that most of you would probably be aware of what your bank balance is, but actually, having done a study recently, only 35 people actually manage their accounts, which is crazy, right? Which is mad. But the awareness allows us to really understand the next level of where we need to get to. Being aware of, like, I need help and I need to change the way I live my life, so I'm going to do it. But I realize I'm unaware that my marriage isn't where it needs to be and I'm not putting the work in. I realize that I'm on this too much, watching porn or looking through social media or consuming Sky News too much. You know, these are things that we need to be aware of so that we can action them and change them. Otherwise, when we retire, we'll sit there and be aware and carry the weight of regret for the last 15 odd years of our life. It's important to recognize it now, like what's going on, and working on that time, energy, and focus allows you to do that. And then the last two I've put here is clarity and consistency. Building clarity. There's nothing better than feeling certainty or clarity. I know where I'm going with this. I know what I'm looking at. Okay. And then that feeling of, man, consistency, it kind of falls into the needs of feeling satisfied and fulfilled. Okay, guys, people like the sounds of those. Hopefully you all like the sounds of every single one of those in your life. And I wonder how much different your life would be, even if you had maybe one or two of these. If you only had one or two of them, I bet it would make difference to you. If you had control and balance, that's just two things. That's just two words. And behind those two words, there's an awful lot of action in showing up to get you to the place you want to be, right? So we're going to go through the systems in about 5 minutes. Just before I do, I want to go through the considerations. Because when we go through the system, I'm always going to refer back to these considerations, all right? So the first consideration is curveballs. There's always going to be curveballs in our life. There's always going to be things that pop up, things that are unexpected, things we didn't know how to handle. And it's about dropping your knee, taking a breath, and being able to manage the situation, okay? I would rather have to deal with a curveball, knowing where my time, my energy, and focus is going in a calm state of mind than being frantic, chaotic, and all over the place, right? How much better would that be? How much better would that be? Considerations is that you have to be patient. I always tell my guys, even when you're coming in on a program, even when you decide to commit, even when you come all in and you're in our community of over 200 guys, like, it takes time to change. For some of you, I don't know how old you are, but if you are a 45-year-old man and you have been living a poor life in terms of your habits and your routines for 20 years, in 4 weeks, you are not going to completely rewire your brain. You're going to change. You're going to, and change can be as quick as 2 days. In 2 days, we spent 2 days together on our 5-day challenge. We see guys changing the way that they think in less than 2 days, even just by doing one night. And we see the changes immediately. But to make it a longer type of change, not one of these quick fad things, we need to go deep into the core of your brain. So we need to rewire all of those years. We need to undo all of those years. So we have to keep continuously working on ourselves and being honest with ourselves. And that is what we have to do with our time and our energy and focus, right? Practice, you've got to keep practicing. Practice over and over and over again. You need accountability, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. Most people go, I'm going to have an accountability buddy with my mate. And what ends up happening is he dips out and then you dip out. You need an accountable, somebody to hold you accountable. There's no two ways about it. If you are going to change and you don't know how to do it, 99.9% of men don't. And that is by having conversations with hundreds and hundreds of guys. You need someone. I've got someone, I've got a coach, I've got a mentor, I've got my own community that I go into, and I'm held accountable. Your conditioning out and where you're at. So for most of you, you're white belts at this personal development, self-development, self-leadership thing. So you've got to go through the ranks. You've got to go through the process. You've got to fail, learn, win, learn, grow, repeat. You are where you are, but it's about building that level up, right? It's about building to the next belt, then the next belt, then the next belt, and we keep growing and we keep building, okay? Then we look at distractions and flexibility. So there are people who will need flexibility with their time, their energy, and their focus, okay? And there will be people and things that distract us from us planning ourselves, okay? So we're going to go into the system now. So the system is really, really important. It's a really simple process. Yeah, I don't think we actually need that. That's fine. So I'm going to go through it. So if you take yourself back, if you take yourself back to college, and when you were at college, when you first joined college, you were given this like piece of paper, and on that piece of paper were all of the periods where your classes were going to take place. So what day, what time, what classroom, what teacher, what subject. So you can plan your life around it. And you'd look at it, and you first thing you probably say is, well, I don't have to do 9 till 3, Monday to Friday, like you did at school, okay? And you would look at that and go, right, I've got all of these free periods. So you would start planning your life, even probably as an 18-year-old, going, well, I can do some work here, I can go and earn some money here, or I can go to the gym and hang out with my boys here. And you would base your life around that piece of paper. Everything was dictated around the periods that were set at college, because that was your primary role, right? So what we need to do is create something similar, because when you leave the educational scenario scene, you don't have that piece of paper anymore. You're left to fend for yourself. So you have to manage your own time, energy, and focus. It's not done for you anymore. So we have to be able to create a system, a structure, a routine, and a system that allows us to be accountable for all of that time to feel less stressed. Does that make sense to everyone? So the thing that we have to understand is where we're going to put our time and our energy and our focus is key. So you are going to have to learn to create what is called like a timetable. Let me just quickly. So this is our journal. So this is a tool that we use for the guys. Okay, so this is like a brand new one. So we've left it blank here so you can see. So here's a classic example of a timetable of where we put our time and our energy. So we've got Monday through to Sunday here. And then down the side, we've got the morning routine. And then we've got from 8 to 12:30, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, from 4 o'clock to 7, and then 7 onwards. Okay, so it becomes this blank canvas. Now, this is almost like a bank statement, if you like. So here, we're going to talk about where we're going to put our time and our energy and focus. We have to know actually a couple of things here as well. We have to know, number one, what is our priorities? All right, what are our priorities? What needs to be done this week? What are the non-negotiables? So let's go through the first thing. What needs our time? So the first thing that we can do here is create a brain dump. So a brain dump is sitting there going, where do I need to put my time, my energy, my focus? Okay, what happens? So you just literally break down everything you need to do. And I usually break the paper down in half and go, these are all the personal things that I want to achieve. These are all the professional things. And you just brain dump. And what it does is it alleviates all of that overthinking, all of that pressure, everything that you're trying to create in your head here. Okay, and you're getting it down on paper. So that instantly relieves us of overthinking, of stressing out, trying to remember. And then we have to be able to prioritize. Okay, by prioritizing, what we're doing is setting targets. We're setting outcomes. We're setting things that will allow us to feel like we're accomplishing and fulfilling, and actually getting clarity about what needs to be done. So give you an example, we would then choose from that brain dump the top 3 priorities that you need to achieve in your personal life and then your professional life. And we'll highlight them with a highlighter pen. So it's really clear on what we need to achieve, right? Okay. We then need to create the timetable with periods, which we've done, and then we need to add in the non-negotiables. So what we would do is put in the things that we know are definitely happening that we can't really change. So if you, for example, work 9 to 5, in that timetable, you will literally just put work 9 to 5. If it's a half an hour commute, you'll put that before and a half an hour commute after. Your morning routine, you put your morning routine up. So you're up at 5:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the morning. And then that's non-negotiable right across the week. So you know that you're putting your time, your energy, and focus into that. Then we need to kind of look at when you are doing after school clubs or anything that you're committed to. So basically what we then have is our timetable. We then look at where the gaps are to put our priorities that we've spoken about. So if one of your professional priorities is in your work, then you're going to write where you put that column of time, energy, and focus when you're going to work on that specific project. Okay, so on the Monday, you might have that category there, and it might be that you need to complete a report. It might be that you need to have a meeting of some sort. It might be the priority of the week. So you'd write it in there Monday at 9 till 10:30, focus on meeting prep. Okay, and then you might go from 11 till 12:30, focus on report prep. So you know on Monday that you're going to be tackling your biggest priority because you've already prioritized it, and you're going to be sitting there going, right, that's what I'm going to be doing. So when you wake up Monday morning, you have got a clear, concise idea about where your time, your energy, and focus is going in those first 3 to 4 hours in your work. You know that when you wake up, where your time, your energy is going in that morning routine. So you can wake up and have that certainty. You can have that clarity. Okay, you're going to get up, you're going to go for a walk, you're going to do some meditation, you're going to check your diary, and you're going to find some level of gratitude, for example. Okay, I'm not going to go into too deep on the actual routines. But what you have done is just created where your time and your energy is going. So we're being accountable for it. So it's like a bank statement. So on here, you'd have that, bang, that's all in here. You then have your work things here and what you're going to be achieving in your work for each day. Okay, what are the priorities on each of those days? And we're just suddenly, all of a sudden, kind of creating a timetable of where we're going to be. And I could come into your life and go, right, tell me where you're going to be Friday at 1 o'clock. And you would be able to tell me, okay, tell me what time you're finishing work, okay? And then tell me what time you're switching your phone off. So then what I'm looking at are, what are your barriers? So what is the divide between leaving work and actually getting home and putting the dag cap on? So that you know, you want that certainty, you want that clarity, you want that awareness. You want your wife to know, is that like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, you told me that you were going to be present. You're not going to be in the room on your phone, but you're actually going to be in the room and present, right? And you're going to be focusing on us, and you're going to be focusing on your kids. And that is leading yourself, okay? And when we do this, and when we practice this, and when we have that accountability, we then suddenly go from being someone that is all over the place to somebody that is setting targets, is prioritizing things for themselves, is having cutoffs and barriers. Well, if you look at the needs, if we look at the benefits, what are the benefits? All of the needs that we looked at. So you can have a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment just from planning and managing and being accountable where your time and your energy and focus are going, rather than waking up and going, I wonder what shit's coming my way today, okay? Independence, you're now being independent about what you're going to do, where your time is going, how you're spending it. Okay, you're making key decisions about your own life and what's going to be done, rather than getting into work and going, right, what needs to be done? That's the difference between a high performer and an average performer, an elite operator versus an average operator. Someone who comes in, is clear, is in 5 minutes or 10 minutes earlier, knows what they need to do because they've prepped it and gets that job done. That means that they can leave on time without guilt, overthinking, or obligation because they've done what they said they were going to do. Okay. A sense of mastery in your life, well, you're taking responsibility for where your time, your energy, and focus is going, how much time you're spending with your kids, how much time you're spending with work, how much time you're spending on your own health, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Okay. Reduce stress. We're not going to really be able to do much about the day-to-day stress. There's always day-to-day stress. But the more in control you are, the more that you have your shit together here with these, where your time and energy and focus is going, the less all of that external impulsive stress reduces. We suddenly feel calmer about the way that our life is panning out. Purpose and meaning, and it kind of all builds up. Does that make sense to everyone? So in terms of, a recap, when we're thinking about trying to control our lives, it's about taking back control. And I think one of the key words here is elements of control. We've got control from that timetable there. We've got control of our time and our energy and focus. We've got balance of it. We've got calmness because we feel like, man, I know what I'm doing. Instead of thinking, oh my God, what the fuck is this week bringing? You've got charge of it, okay? You've got management of emotions because you feel less stress, less chaotic, okay? You're less tools, you've got targets, you're managing yourself. There's more awareness about where everything is going and how everything is happening, and then clarity and consistency. And that is how we manage at the very start, very basic, our time and our energy and focus. Now, there is a lot more to this, but you need to nail this. This is the most basic level that we would get people to do, right? And then it's kind of like, how do you do that over 28 days? How do you do that over 12 weeks? How do you do that over a year? How do you do that over 5 years? And that's stuff that we educate men in our programs to do. We educate them to be able to plan 28 days, to be able to plan a week and get in their teeth stuck in and get grind into it, right? And I think what's really, really important is to understand that this takes time to just nail it in itself. Okay, it's really, really important. So if you quite like what you've got here and what we're getting into, and you kind of think to yourself, I'm fucking sick and tired of being this guy, right? I need to be this guy here, this guy, and this guy. And these are all the things that we need to do. We basically run programs and opportunities for guys as and when they feel they are ready. Okay. So if you kind of feel that you are ready as and when, and would like to work with us, you are more than welcome to join us. So I've put the link to our 90-day program in there. I'm not a big fan of having to convince men to do this, because what I need actually is men to come into this that want to do it. Okay. And that's where we're probably a little bit different from other people, is that we've got over 200 lads who have all made the decision to change the way that they live their lives. And the ROI of this is 9 out of 10 of those 200 guys have better marriages. Okay. 9 out of 10 of those guys have lost between 1 and 3 stone. 9 out of 10 of those guys are performing in their career and their business and growing them both. And 9 out of 10 of those guys are doing this every single day. And by the way, no one wins every day. Nobody wins every day. And if you haven't invested in yourself in the last 5 years, for example, when you look at the investment that we put on the value of this program, it works out something like 22p a week over the last 5 years. Okay. And I think a lot of people go, oh God, yeah, it's a money thing, but there is the element that you need to have that investment. But the way that we look at it is that if you're not going to do it, when are you going to do it? When are you going to actually take the plunge and invest in help and improve that marriage and improve your career and improve your business to actually perform at a higher level? Okay. So I put the link up on there. What I'm going to do is open up a Q&A here, guys, for anybody that has any questions on this or anything that has any questions that they would like me to answer. We've got about 5 or 10 minutes. I've put the link up on there for guys, if you want to have a look at it. Our applications close on Sunday. I think we've got about 5 places left, guys, okay, before we reach capacity of what we can take, just for the quality of our coaching. All right, so if you kind of think, right, there's options for the next 3 months, and the next 6 months, okay? You can do the 6 months journey. You can stay with us right throughout. Can you see the link, guys? Can you see me posting that? You can't see it. How weird. Let me try this. Are there any questions at all? You see that? Hopefully you can see that. Cool. Questions? Any questions? Anything that anyone wants me to answer about this or about the program, but anything about that that you maybe need some guidance with? Got about 5-10 minutes, guys. Just keep it short and sharp to the brief. Some people write like their life story and then a question at the end. So just short, sharp stuff that maybe you're struggling with. If you come and work with us, as soon as you put your application form, you're in, guys. We will put you in we will put you straight in. The program officially starts on the 13th of February. And then we'll be getting started there, but then we bring in. So if your days always varies, that's where you're playing ahead, right? So you don't have to have the same matrix of days, right? Days are always going to vary, but that's where you look ahead on the Sunday or at the weekend and go, right, okay, this is how my day plans, plan accordingly. Can you photo your board and post it, please? Yes, it's actually on Facebook already. If you go to The Man Coach on Instagram and Facebook, you'll find it there. If you don't find it, email me at boardmanjames.com. me@boardmanjames.com. How do you get the journal, the timetable? Let me put the website here. I put the website up there. I'm not sure who asked that. If you go to there, go to shop, you'll see the journal. Lots of emergencies. Yep, so we've got lots of paramedics that work with us, and police officers as well, and actually 2 firemen. And they all still manage to do this system. They follow this system, and I think we've even got a doctor, an emergency doctor. So they plan their life accordingly around their shifts and curveballs, you know, and it becomes the norm to be able to plan. Alex, yes, so if you join the program, you'll be able to purchase one then as well. I've put the link up to the website, so you'll be able to have a look on there as well. Yeah, so these are, especially if you do the 3-month one, this is a great tool. So this is a 90-day planner, and in here we've kind of got like things like, if you look here, there's the 90-day planner, and then we break it down into 3 checkpoints. So these are the things that you would want to achieve. So these are your targets for the first 28 days, your timetable, and then we go into weekly focus, and then you go into your daily focus, etc. So it kind of keeps you, it's like a Bible, if you like, whilst you're doing the course, kind of keeps you accountable. With the course, there's like, you'll see me every week on a Zoom call anyway. So as we're going through the course, there's weekly coaching for me. There's 12 modules to go through in terms of building up the fundamentals, morning routines, evening routines, dealing with mental resilience, how to overcome problems, how to plan over the next 5 to 10 years, how to plan 28 days, how to plan 90 days. It is packed with content and education. For us, it's about educating the man how to live, how to build a set of non-negotiables to be able to wake up every single morning and go, fuck me, let's go for it, let's get in there. And then obviously the community is huge and thriving, and everybody, we've got 200 guys just supporting each other, right? And there's me, 3 other members, coaches, all have come through the system and come to work for me off the back of doing these programs and these seminars, etc. And they're incredible men as well. I'm going to be away for 3 weeks of the 90 days, from the end of February to the beginning of March, most of it without internet. Is it better to start the course after so? I don't want to miss too much. I mean, if you've got no internet whatsoever, yeah, I'd probably say that's probably best. But again, it's down to you, it's personal preference. How do you deal with rock bottom feeling when you're at your lowest? How do you get out? Well, you can't, if you're at the very lowest, the only way is up, right? So the only way is up. So the thing you've got to do is accumulate a ton of 1% wins, just doing small things, getting up 15 minutes earlier, doing 10,000 steps, writing down things that are really good about you. What I tend to find personally and with other guys is that when we're at rock bottom, we have that victim mentality, right? We have a pity party. And when we're in there, it's very difficult because we're waiting for somebody to come and save us, and no one is. And I think the quicker that we can get that into our head, and it's your responsibility what you do next, how you take the next 3 to 6 to 12 months is on you. It's not on anyone else. And sometimes we just need that tough love to confront the beast in the mirror and go, dude, let's stop the fucking moping. Let's get to work. Okay, no matter what's happened, let's get to work and let's put it right. Do I deal with a lot of ex-forces? It's fair share. It's a really well balanced between ex-forces, corporates, business owners, stay-at-home dads. You know, it's pretty balanced, to be fair. You're more than welcome. It's my pleasure to do the training. I always find it hard to get back on track when things go wrong or my routines are broken. Of course it is, but what we have to look at there is actually what's the root cause of you keep falling off it. That's what happens, right? So I would probably say there's no accountability. There's no one holding you to asking you why the fuck you're slipping. That's the most important thing, right? So if you look at accountability right here, no priorities, no training, no community, trying to do it by yourself. Like it's like trying to learn to change an engine, watching YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Or trying to like do a surgery of just watching YouTube. It's unless you have the in-depth rooted DNA in you here, and build those non-negotiables, and you build that discipline, and you have that get on with it, no matter fucking what attitude. It's tough. It's tough out there. Do you help with loss of respect for yourself? We help with everything. So a lack of respect for yourself has come from somewhere. There's a root cause in there somewhere that has caused you to lack respect for yourself. I lost respect for myself when I was drinking and a blubbering mess, and I failed my children and my wife at the time. But you build that respect up through identity, through a process. Can't wallow in that. Can't stay in that position. You can't stay in that place where you keep disrespecting yourself, because it's not healthy. Life's too fucking short. We weren't put on here to disrespect ourselves and wallow in our emotions for so long, right? We have to be able to draw strength from somewhere. Like pain equals power. You have gone through something, no doubt, that has allowed you to lose that respect for yourself. That's knowledge, that's experience, that's life experience. Now we've got to turn that into power to going, man, how can I grow? What can I achieve? And that's how I looked at my life. Those 3 years after leaving the military, I realized I was dwelling, and I had to use that power, that pain and suffering as power to thrive and move forwards and get myself back to where I needed to be. I hope that makes sense. So much to do, not sure what to prioritize. Yeah, there is so much to do. I just think you have to think about, number one, what are the things that mean the most to you? So if you're, I don't know, for example, are in a marriage and you're not showing up in that marriage, to me, that is a priority, right? You're about the things think about the alternative to that thing not happening. Okay, if you don't show up, and this is the alternative to not showing up, and if you think about that pain, is it going to drastically cause you pain and suffering? Well, if it is, then we need to change it. When we get out of that mentality and we start to grow, we then start looking at things, what moves the needle forwards? So I always have this mantra, and this mantra come off the Great Britain rowing team, and it was always, does it make the boat go faster? And so they prioritize all of their actions and decisions based on, does it move the boat go faster? So if they were doing something or challenged to do something, or they looked at a training schedule or nutrition or their sleep patterns or whatever it was, they always used to say, did it move the boat faster? Did it move the boat faster? And if it didn't, they wouldn't do it. So ask yourself, what's your mantra? Does it build your business? Does it bring you closer to your wife? Does it help you lose that weight? And if it doesn't, then it's not a priority. Right, last couple of questions. Alex James, have you heard of, I don't know, Turn to Charity? Nope, never heard of those guys. Haven't heard of them. No, they sound like they're doing a great job though. John, I beat myself up so much, and there's so little self-care because I beat myself up so much, and there's so little self-care because I feel I deserve it. I'm not sure. Do you mean that you don't deserve it? Which is, John, as you well know, bullshit. Like, of course you do. You know, beating yourself up is a victim mentality. It's a victim mentality. It's a pity state. Beating yourself up doesn't do anything for you or your children or your family or your wife or your situation. I'm very straight-laced. Not everyone will agree with me, but instead of beating yourself up, pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back about the things that you're doing. You know, at the end of each day, you got through the day, boom, let's go. Next day. Let's go next day. You've got to change it. You've got to change the narrative in your head. Too much in the head, and the narrative is too negative. It's too like, oh, fucking, I'm not this, I'm not that. But this is what you are, and this is what you have achieved. Change the voice. Feel guilty about prioritizing myself, so get blocked, but when helping others, can smash it. Let me put it this way. If you didn't prioritize yourself within your job, and you got stressed in your job and you were overwhelmed with that job, man, and you kept on neglecting time with them, number one, you might have a stroke. Number two, you might have a heart attack and die. Number three, okay, you might end up fucking your wife leaving you because you're working all the time. Number four, you could be made redundant at any fucking point, any point. But you would have sacrificed everything for the work side. When you put you first, you are basically saying, man, I need to be number one. I need to be the fucking king here to make sure that I take care of my wife, to make sure that I'm still earning finances and have the strength to manage my time, my energy, and my focus. Okay, so that actually I don't have a stroke and I take care of myself and they know that they're my priority. You can't do that All the guys talking in here about beating themselves up, they're not putting themselves first. And look at the mindset that is growing and building in their mind. We've got to be able to 1% a day build that sense of priority. Don't feel guilty about being the best husband. She's getting the best version of you. Your kids are getting the best version of their dad. Your employees or your business is getting the best version of you because you're the priority. Not a question, just a massive thank you. You gave me my life back, my family. I love that. Proud of you, David. I don't deal with curveballs very well. I get angry, frustrated, and everyone suffers. Oh, fucking this thing is doing my head in. Oh, that's better. Right, there we go. You can see all the questions there. I don't deal with curveballs very well. I get angry and frustrated, and everyone suffers. Struggle to control emotions. Just ask yourself, like, so curveballs are like fire. This fire then engulfs us, right? And it engulfs our mind. What is the water to put out that flame? It's perspective. Most curveballs don't even fucking matter, because most curveballs we don't even know, unless it's a curveball like the doctor telling you you've got 2 months to live, right? Or someone that you love having 2 months to live, right? Most of the time we are going to go through hardship every single day. Hardship is going to be in and around you, but how you respond to that can change. So if you look at a curveball and go, okay, I can't do anything about that right now, but I can do something about it later on, or I will do something, or it's out of my control. So I'm just, what can I do? That's building the mind gym. So the mind gym that you're building here is something you grow and you build. You won't see that yet, PJ, because you're not at that level of conditioning, but you can be if you build your brain and you build the rewiring in here to change the core DNA and narrative that's going on in your head. Thank you, Dave. You're more than welcome. Currently feeling like I'm in a maintenance phase after implementing SRS. Cool. And there's nothing wrong with a maintenance phase. Maintenance or maintaining growth is probably the hardest thing you can do, more so than actually growing, because you get onto that ledge. Now you've got to stay on that ledge, and you're fighting standards, your complacency and distractions. Raising the bar. Just enjoy the maintenance, embed it until it is second nature, non-negotiables, right? Don't put yourself under the pressure. It's like, how do I keep, you can't just continuously keep fucking growing, because you'll fall short. You'll fall short of energy and time. I feel like I do deserve it. Okay, thank you, very good. What is Pasta syndrome? No idea, never heard of it. How do you deal with managing time, yourself, stress, etc.? When also got medical conditions, also like ADHD. Yeah, so I too suffer with ADHD. My boy struggles with ADHD as well. And I manage my time exactly the way I've told you, like with that journal, with being strict with my diary there, with lots of clarity, lots of checking, lots of planning ahead. Tomorrow's planned. My time is planned down to the T. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to be there, okay? And if I feel myself getting quite stressed, I'll literally just take myself out of the house and I'll walk around the estate, and I'll come back, and 10 minutes later, I'll feel clear-headed and ready to go. Cool. All right. I think that's all of the questions done. Guys, it's been a real pleasure to see you all. Thank you for being here. If you do decide to come and work with us, I really look forward to your journey and you growing and you building with us and getting to the place that you want to be. I hope you can really see the benefit of what we do. You will be part of something very, very special. We're very good at what we do. And we've been doing it a very long time and really understand what's going on here for a lot of guys. And it's all right to be open and change, and we are where we are, right? So have a great evening. Have a great weekend. If we see you on the other side, ready to go. If not, we'll see you on the road down the road slightly. See you soon.